Hey everyone, Mr. Macintosh here, and OpenCore Legacy Patcher is a brand new version available, 1.4.3. This is the highly anticipated update that brings back macOS Sonoma support for 14.4 and 14.4.1 to non-metal Macs from 2008 to 2011. We're going to go over all that and all the fixes in this update, along with going through a live demo of updating to the latest version, and we've got 6 different Sonoma devices to test against, plus we've got Ventura, Monterey, and Big Sur. And we also have a broken non-metal Mac that installed Sonoma 14.4 before the fix was put into play. That's got a lot of problems, and we're going to see if we can fix that. We've got a lot to cover. Let's jump in and get started. It's no April Fool's. 1.4.3 is live on April 1st, 2024. And we've been waiting for this one because macOS Sonoma 14.4 caused a bunch of problems, not only for non-metal Macs, but also for Wi-Fi and a whole bunch of other things. Right off the bat, let's go over some of the highlights of this update, and then we'll talk about some of the fixes, and then we'll jump into the demo and all the different models. So first of all, we talked about this in the previous update about the warning before upgrading to macOS Monterey 12.7.4, 13.6.5, or 14.4 could break auto join Wi-Fi on legacy wireless cards, and those are from 2008 to about 2009 and 11 and 12 for different models. And you can tell that when you look at one of the machines that has legacy Wi-Fi, like this 2010 Mac Pro, this is what you'll see for networking, legacy wireless, when one of those machines is in that subset of those old wireless cards. It'll say legacy wireless here. And if you had that where you install the patches and everything's working great except the Wi-Fi, so on this Mac Pro, all you needed to do is go into system settings and go to Wi-Fi, and then click on the known network right here, click on the 3 dots in the circle, and then click forget this network. It'll remove this. Then you'll see it in the list again. Click join, and that should fix that issue, and you can restart, and hopefully your Wi-Fi is back to normal. With the release of OpenCore Legacy Patcher 1.4.3, this build is targeted for macOS 14.4 and 14.4.1 and Macs with non-metal graphics cards. This build resolves support for those machines with non-metal GPUs, 2008 to about 2011, 2012 for Mac Pro, and it shows the affected GPU models: AMD Terascale 1 and 2, NVIDIA Tesla, Maxwell, Intel Iron Lake, and Intel Sandy Bridge HD 3000 series. So that's a huge fix for that. So now you don't have to wait to update to the latest version of macOS Sonoma 14.4.1. As I always mention in the update videos, if you have the means and you would like to support the OpenCore Legacy Patcher developers in handling the 84 different Mac models, you can go to the Open Collective OpenCore Legacy Patcher donation page. Now here's the full change log for the 1.4.3 update. First of all, we talked about the non-metal binaries that were fixed. This is a big shout out to a sentient bot that was able to figure out. Him and Edu Kavas are the ones that really work on the non-metal patches. This also resolves a dock location after changing the screen resolution issue, and resolves the 14.4 login window crashes that we talked about, and I was showing you that on that 2011 non-metal Mac that we're going to try to fix here. And it resolves a Terascale 2 screen recording kernel panic. There was also a patch for the skip logo on the Macs that natively support macOS Monterey and newer, and this resolves the missing Apple logo on the boot screen. And OpenCore itself, EFI, was updated to 0.9.9. Those are the full change log in the 1.4.3 update. And I wanted to mention something that I've been seeing a lot of people post about. When they were trying to install OpenCore Legacy Patcher, they were actually downloading this, the AutoPkg-Assets package. It mentions right here what that is, and that is additional resources used by the patcher, and it's only pulled when it's needed. Don't download that. That's why this one is right here, and it's fully named OpenCore Legacy Patcher GUI.app.zip. Now the first demo device that we wanted to go over is our mid-2017 15-inch MacBook Pro. This one has the T1 security chip, the Touch ID, and the touch bar that we have to make sure that works properly. This is the one we're going to go through a full demo walkthrough. Now when you open OpenCore Legacy Patcher, or you do a reboot or a log off, this is what you'll be greeted with when there's a brand new version available. But if you don't do any of those things, you might not get this pop-up. This machine was just powered on, and this is automatically came up. If you want to be able to check, all you need to do is open up the app. So you can go into applications or click on Finder, or you can click on the alias that I put down here on the other side of the recently launched apps. And it'll immediately open this update page before it even goes to the app. So we do want to update because we are on version 1.4.2 and we want to get to 1.4.3. So we can click on download and install. Even though it says that this version is focused on the older non-metal Macs, I like to keep all my machines updated with the latest version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher, even with the fixes in the OpenCore app going to version 9.9 or 99, for example. And we'll take a look at that. While we wait for this to go, we can see if we pull up the settings here, and then we go to app, and we can see which version of OpenCore is installed on the device by scrolling down, and there's release 099, and that was released on March 11th. So now we've got our patcher wants to make some changes, and we need the admin password. We'll type in our password, click OK, and the 1.4.3 has been installed in our library application support Dortania folder. That's where our application is. And that's where the app is stored. Now remember, the alias is stored in the applications folder, and you can see that arrow here. That's the alias, and you can just drag it down here to the other side if you want to have an alias or a little shortcut in your dock. So now we'll click on yes, we want to update the OpenCore, which we just talked about, version 99, to update to that. And that's what's nice about it. It follows the whole process. A, B, and C are 1, 2, 3. 1 is updating the app. 2 is updating the OpenCore on your EFI right here. And step 3 is updating the root patches. So we're on step 2 right now. We'll click on yes. It's building that configuration and saying we want to be able to install it to the disk. We'll click on that. And we'll click on EFI disk 0 and EFI 0S1. Type in our password. It mounts our EFI partition, copies those files over, unmounts it, and then says, let's finish the process with step 3 to install the root patches. We'll click on yes. And for this system, we've got AMD Legacy GCN, we've got Modern Wireless, and the T1 security chip. You can see the last time we patched was on March 25th with 1.4.2. Click on start root patching, and yes, to relaunch his root. Password. Now, while this is building, a lot of you have asked, how do I update to the latest version? Now that this is fixed, how do I update, and what's the process to update to OpenCore and the latest version of Sonoma? I always recommend doing the 1, 2, 3 steps for OpenCore Legacy Patcher first before updating to the latest version of macOS Sonoma, Ventura, Monterey, or Big Sur. Big Sur is dead, so it's 11.7.10 is the last release. I recommend doing that because you can test to make sure there's nothing wrong with the latest version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher first before you even throw in the next version of the operating system update to cause even more possible problems. So as long as this installs and everything boots back up and everything's working, then you can install the latest update. And if any problems happen there, a lot of times you can say it's something with the OS version. But that's why we're doing all this testing now, to try to catch any of those issues before they happen. I always like to uncheck this reopen Windows when logging back in to get a fresh desktop. We'll click on restart. All right, we are on the latest version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and we are on the latest version of macOS Sonoma 14.4.1. And let's make sure that our Touch ID works. We'll lock the screen by hitting Touch ID. And we're back in. So everything's working here. We've got our Bluetooth, we got our wireless, everything's looking good on this 2017 MacBook Pro. Now that we got our walkthrough out of the way on updating, let's take a look at some of our test machines for macOS Sonoma 14.4.1, the latest version, and OpenCore Legacy Patcher 1.4.3. The next demonstration Mac is a 2014 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro. Now I picked this one because it's got NVIDIA Kepler and Intel Haswell. It does not require the KDK or the kernel development kit. And we are on 1.4.3 and the latest version of 14.4.1. I put this screenshot up here because this one has the Intel HD graphics extensions loaded as part of the driver. So this is normal. This is what you will see when you're patching the system, but everything is working really great. We got our Bluetooth, we got our wireless, no problems on this mid 2014 MacBook Pro. Next up is our trash can 2013 Mac Pro. Before we continue, I wanted to make sure we were clear that I'm just doing some basic testing here, making sure the system is running and has most of the basic functions working. I can't run through all the applications and test everything, and sometimes there will be something that might not work properly, but that's all part of the game when we're staying on the bleeding edge of the brand new operating system on older hardware. And that's why I still recommend using macOS Monterey or macOS Ventura as your main system to keep that thing as reliable as possible. As you can see, all these Sonoma machines are working very well, but with Apple changing it every single update, it's tough to keep ahead of all those changes. So just keep that in mind as a recommendation. So for this Mac Pro, we are running the latest version of Sonoma and 1.4.3, and for the patches, we've got AMD Legacy GCN and Modern Wireless. No problems with Bluetooth, wireless, everything is working good on this Mac Pro. Next up is our late 2012 Mac Mini. This is one of the oldest metal compatible Macs, and it only has an Intel graphics chip in there, and it does not need the kernel development kit, and it also has the Apple Intel HD 4000 system extensions for the graphics that you will see when you're doing the patching. This has, as you can see, the Intel Ivy Bridge and Modern Wireless 14.4.1 latest version and 1.4.3. No issues whatsoever on the basic testing. Next up is our old trusty reliable 2010 Mac Pro 5,1 Tower. This is one of my favorite Macs. It is just an absolute beast, and the upgradability is endless. And we are seeing that right here. We have a metal compatible graphics card in here, the NVIDIA NVS 510, 2 gigabytes, and that's one of the most affordable metal cards, but also the worst performing ones available. But it still does the job. It can get you all the metal compatible pieces that you need, and that's why we did not have any problem at all on 14.4 and 14.4.1 on this Mac Pro. And it also has an upgraded Bluetooth and wireless card, and you can see that by when we patch up here, we use this as our demonstration. We saw that before that card was installed, we were using the built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and we had legacy wireless patches. We would have had problems, but since we have that PCI card with Bluetooth and wireless, we now have the modern wireless patches, and everything is working a-okay on 1.4.3 and 14.4.1 on this Mac Pro mid-2010. Before we go over our Ventura test Mac, let me know in the comments what you are using OS-wise for your unsupported Mac. Are you running the latest version of Sonoma? Did you not update to 14.4 or 14.41 because you saw all these issues? Are you still on Ventura as your main? What about macOS Big Sur or macOS Monterey? Did you install Sonoma and it's running great? Or did you install Sonoma and you had nothing but problems? I want to hear about those in the comments. I love seeing both sides of the story, because some installs are going to go great, but others are going to have some difficulties. And I mentioned in the last video that I've seen the most difficulties around the 2012 to 2014 iMac. I got to find one of those things because those users seem to be struggling the most. And I don't have one of those in the set to be able to test that. And I want to bring one of those in because, again, I've seen so many problems. So let me know in the comments what you got going on. So now for this Ventura machine, we've got a mid 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. 13.6.6 is the latest version of Ventura that came out with 14.4.1. We're on 1.4.3, and this Mac needs legacy GCN AMD drivers, and Intel has well. And we saw here that we did not need a new KDK. There wasn't a KDK. All we have is our 13.6.5, and that's totally fine. And it did remove the previous one because it did say that it found a corrupted KDK found because it was missing files. It went to the backup file that we had on hand here, which is 13.6.5, installed that, and everything was fine. No problems here. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, everything's looking good on this Ventura 2015 MacBook Pro. Now let's take a look at macOS Monterey. On our 2013 15-inch MacBook Pro, Monterey is still chugging along and is still supported by Apple, but it did not get an update with 13.6.6 and 14.4.1. Still on 12.7.4, so we did not have an update in between there. And we did update to 1.4.3. For graphics, we've got NVIDIA coupler and Intel Ivy Bridge. No problems with Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, everything's working well on Monterey. It's a very solid operating system. Other than that legacy Wi-Fi issue that happened, no issues whatsoever. Now let's go over macOS Big Sur. I can't recommend macOS Big Sur anymore because Apple is no longer sending out security patches for this operating system. If you have it and it's running fine for you, I'm not going to talk you down to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, but I can't not go without recommending upgrading to at least macOS Monterey so you're getting all those latest security patches that Apple has available for that OS. Don't get me wrong, macOS Big Sur started out with a bunch of problems when it came out in 2020, but over time, all the way to 11.7.10 is now a pretty solid operating system that is running very well on many systems. We are running 1.4.3, and on this late 2011 15-inch MacBook Pro non-metal, we are running AMD Terascale 2, Intel Sandy Bridge, and we also have the legacy keyboard backlight patches, and everything's running a-okay. We don't have any issues on this 2011 MacBook Pro. Okay, last but not least is our broken 17-inch late 2017 MacBook Pro running macOS Monterey 14.4. I purposely updated this to break it so we can be in a situation where you might be where you accidentally upgraded to this and you did not see those warnings or you were unaware of that. And that's fine. Sometimes this happens, but let's see if we can fix this live. This is what happens when the non-metal Macs are trying to log in. The login window crashes twice. So you'll try to type in your password, it crashes, type it again, crashes, but the third time it will bring you to the desktop. The only problem is there's nothing but problems here. We do not have a menu bar. Whenever we try to type in the keyboard, nothing works. So if we try to open up terminal and then try to type in, here's what happens. You just hear dots. It's just making a beeping sound. So you can't even type in there. So that's going to be a problem. We can't do that. Let's see if we can, first of all, this is a login window crash. We don't need to send that, so we'll click Do Not Send. Let's see if we can open up OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Now, if you don't have a shortcut down here, we can go into a Macintosh hard drive or click on Finder, go in our Applications folder, and we should be able to at least launch the application. Now, the problem is that if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, which this machine is having difficulties because of all the problems, it might not be able to check for updates, but I've plugged it into Ethernet, so it should be able to reach out for an update. Well, we'll see if that works or not. So let's try it out. There it is. When I first tried this did not come up. And it's critical because if you don't have any other Mac to be able to try to fix this, you're in a pretty bad position because you need to get to 1.4.3 from 1.4.0 or 1.4.1 that's still broken. Wi-Fi is not going to be working on your non-metal machine at this point, but maybe it does. If your particular model is working and this comes up, great. All you need to do is click download and install. If you can plug in a USB and grab a version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher 1.4.3 and drag it over and put in applications, that's fine too. And you can immediately apply the new patches to get this thing fixed up. So let's see if we can fix this up right now. Again, we can't type in, but hopefully we'll be able to download and install. I've not done this ahead of time. I wanted to do this live, but I did have to connect to Ethernet so we can connect over screen sharing so we can see what we're doing. So let's click on download and install. And hopefully this will be able to download, run the patches, install the latest version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher app, step 1. Step 2, install OpenCore version 99 to EFI. And step 3, install the fixed root patches to be able to fix the login window crashes. If so, we're going to be in really good shape here. So let's see if we can get this finished. Installing. Password. Oh boy, we might be in a problem here. Let's see if we can. Let's think about this. And this is why I kind of like doing things live like this, because this is what's going to happen, right? There's no testing it out beforehand, trying to figure this out. So let me think about what we can do here. Okay, just a quick update here. We are trying to be a little bit creative and trying to use the accessibility keyboard. No go. I was really hoping that I could try to do that, and that's not working. What is working is cut and paste. Let's say your password is 2011. You could copy this and you could actually paste this in, and that's working. I haven't given up yet. We're going to continue to try to figure this out. Ooh, boy, we had a little bit of a breakthrough here. Guess what does receive text input? Spotlight does. If you do a command space to bring up Spotlight and then you type in your password here, you can cut and paste the password from here into the bar, and we'll show you how to do that. We'll just do that right now. This test machine's password is 1234. We're going to highlight that by double clicking on it, right click on it, click copy, and then go here and we'll do paste and then click OK. Excellent. Now we'll just wait for it to finish here. There it goes. It's been updated to 1.4.3. That's step one. Now we got to install OpenCore EFI 099. We'll click on yes. That password's still in the clipboard, so we'll click on install the disk. We'll paste that clipboard password into the next screen here once it requests it. Right here, we'll click on here. We'll go paste again. Okay. There we go. Now we want to do step 3, root patches. We've got our Terrascale 2, Sandy Bridge, Modern Wireless, and our legacy keyboard backlight. And you can see the last time we root patched at 1.4.1 on March 8th. Let's click on root patching. Yes. Paste that password that we just had there. Okay. Excellent. We've got our KDK still in our library developer KDK folders at 14.4. That's what this system is. So we don't even need to download it. It's going to merge that with the root volume and apply that. So we'll give it a second to finish that. Now it's going to rebuild the kernel cache. All right, reboot and restart. Give it a second for the next window to pop up. If it does, okay, let's see if we can get creative here again. Let's try to issue a terminal command to restart the computer. So let's open up our Spiderlet in and we'll paste our shutdown command to be able to restart the system. So our command that we're going to use is sudo shutdown R for restart now. So we'll copy that and we'll paste it here and see if we can do this. Hit enter. Ooh, we can't hit enter, can we? That might be a problem. Let's try a keyboard command. Control, command, power button. Ooh. It worked. Okay, so it just restarted. And sure, we could shut it down, like a hard shutdown, but it's always better to do a restart instead of a hard power down. So that's a really nice little trick that we can use to be able to restart the system when it was obviously not responding to any enter command or keyboard input. Okay, it's booting back up now. We are back up and let's see if we can log in with no crashes of the login window. Looking pretty good. We've got our menu bar back. The login window did not crash. Let's see if we can do some text inputs here. Terminal, look at that. Yay, and our system keyboard's working again. Nice work. A Sentient Bot and all of the non-metal developers, Edu Kavas, all of the mainline OpenCore Legacy Patcher developers, Makola, Dina K, you guys are absolutely amazing on what you're doing here. And a lot of people really, truly appreciate all the work that you've been putting into this. I know I do, and I know a lot of you do too. Thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.